So this video is designed to get you through the 4 L's of getting a site built and using the 3-day process of building a free electronic word-of-mouth website. So the design process itself is free and costs no money. So the first L that you want to know about is that you need to come up with a layout. The layout is based on either a drawing or based on another site or based on different ideas. Also, the second L is a list of needs. These are all things that need to be in place before day 1 of design is started. So day 1 to 3 is the process of building the site itself. And again, this costs nothing. And at the end of day 3, then the third L comes into play, which is a list of fixes that need to be done before day 4 and after, which is the fourth L, the launch. So you start with the layout and the list of needs. Design starts day 1 through 3. At the end of day 3, a list of fixes is produced. Maybe the site is completely done. Just so that you know, most of the time, 80 to 90% of the time, the site is actually completely done by the end of day 3. And then after that comes launch. So let's take a look at each one of these. For a custom layout, we start with the drawing of a site. So on the left you see there's a site that's been drawn. At the very top of the drawing there you see that this image is of a picture of a piece of paper that is turned sideways. So it's important because your screen is the same dimensions. It's wider than it is tall. Across the top is the menu. Immediately below that, in the middle, is the logo. To the right is a slideshow. To the left is actually what ended up being another slideshow. If you look at the actual site on the right, you'll see that that's the actual design, committedtobefit.com. And then below that, you see there's like the cursive, friend me, follow me with the social media icons. Below that is on the left the categories, and then the post, and on the right a video. So this is an example of a site that's been drawn and the layout that was used based on that. Here's another example. On the left you see in the upper left-hand corner is a logo, upper right-hand corner social media icons. Below that is a header with small icons representing each menu item. And then below that is a picture slider with articles, and on the right, Instagram feed. So this is another example of a site that is based on a drawing. Here are different examples of the second type of custom site, which is where you pick a site and then that layout is essentially copied, avoiding any copyright violations, by the way. On the left is letsbefit.com. On the right, teammillerfitclub.com. You can see on the left in the upper left-hand corner is the logo. In the middle at the top is a Join My Team button. On the upper right is a subscription. Below that is a really dark menu bar with white letters for the menu items. Below that is a slider. Below that is a cursive, font with the social media icons, and then below that are 3 major areas: nutrition, fitness, and questions. You can't actually see that on here on the left, but it is there. Here's another example. On the left is coachglitter.com. On the right, chelsealibra.com. If you actually go to chelsealibra.com, you'll see that there's a logo at the top left now. This screenshot was taken before that was updated. So on the left you have your logo in the upper left, and then in the upper right is your social media icons. Below that is a dark from side to side bar, which is a full design layout as far as the design goes. And then below that is a slider, and then below that is a subscription box. Next example, Tina Bernal wanted to have a site that looked like this one on the left. We're actually creating a totally new site, but this was a good example of you start with a site on the left, and then the site on the right is laid out the same way. Here's another example. These look very much alike because the the person who wanted the site liked the same color scheme, and so we kept the same color scheme without much variation. But enough of the site is actually different that it's not really like a problem. So at the very top we have the logo, with social media icons flanking the logo, and then below that is a split menu, and then below that is a slider with a static image. And you see on the left there's actually two areas where there's a slider with a static image, and we have that in a different order on the one on the right. Next up is an example of taking that site and then making another site similar to it, but with a slightly different layout. And then the third way of making a custom site is to start with a logo. And after you start with a logo, like for example, this was a PSD file, which is a Photoshop digital file. I was able to break that apart and then make social media icons from that and use that logo to create a color scheme that flows and matches. So that's an example of the third type of layout, which is from a logo. Here's another example of working from a logo. On the left you see the logo for Operation Silver Star, and on the right you see the site. Their original site just had a bunch of pictures and not really much in the way of graphic design. But using pictures, as a matter of fact, these in the middle, these pictures that you see, these 4 pictures, are all sliders. So there's different sliders that they rotate those images in and out, and then you see the rest of the website has the necessary links for somebody who is visiting. And on the left, you see here, this is a thesis theme. It's designed by another company. But on the right, you see an example of a copied design. Now, what I've done is I've actually made this like thesis theme available as a semi-custom package, meaning that if you want to have a site done with me, you can actually use this theme that I created that is quote-unquote like thesis. It's semi-custom, which is not as expensive as custom. Here's 2 more examples of the like thesis theme. On the left, thefittattorney.com. On the right, shakeitandshakeup.com. These are like thesis. You can see there's certain elements that are common to them, and that's what makes the theme the same. Of course, the background, headers, different parts of the site are different. This is how you take a theme and then customize it. And so that's a semi-custom package, whenever you take a pre-existing theme and then customize it by changing the background, adding different things to it. Now here's another theme that I created, which is the electronic word of mouth theme. Essentially at the top is a header, and then below that is a menu bar, and then below that in the middle are your blog entries, and then on the right and left are your sidebars, which is similar to the like thesis theme, but this has a different feel to it. You get to change the background, you get to change, the header, that sort of thing. So it's really pretty great. Here's 2 more examples of the electronic word of mouth theme. Again, this is the same theme. So if you want a semi-custom site done, then you want to think about, okay, if I have the same theme, but I replaced this or replaced that, then you want to think about, okay, how would you make this theme match what you want? And then you would give that information to me, and then I would take this theme, the electronic word of mouth theme, and then customize it to you. Here's 2 more examples. This is the same electronic word of mouth theme, and they are customized to the person who wanted the site. Now, this is the second L, your list of needs. So this is your social media links. You need those things. So you would send links to those things, and you would also send any other items that you absolutely need, such as affiliate links, links to product or pictures. You would send your own links, any images, some text like your about page, those sort of things. Anything that you actually consider to be needs before the site is designed, you need to have those things in place so that potentially you can have the site launched on day 3 or before day 3. Like I mentioned, 80 to 90% of my sites that I design are ready for launch, and it's just that 10 to 20% where there's something that needs to be changed. So what we do is when we have everything in place, we have the layout and we have the list of needs. We go ahead and start working on combining these two things. We combine the layout with a list of needs. It takes between 20 to 30 hours to complete this design process. There may be questions that I have of you during the process. You may have questions of me, and we communicate. And if there's anything that you need to add, that's the time to do it before day 3 is up, so that we can potentially launch the site. So if all goes well, your site will be ready for launch on day 3. So it's okay to send that additional information as needed. And then you'll be asked at the end of the design process, either it could happen in one day, possibly, but in day 2, day 3, either you love the site and it's ready for launch, and with the understanding that you'll always be adding more as time goes along, because that's the nature of a blog. You start with a blog and then you add to it over time. So most of the time the site is ready to go, and then you'll add more blog posts as time goes along. Or if there's something about the site that you're not quite okay with, but that it can be changed. So in other words, you love what's been done so far, and that there are things that need to be done before you launch, but they will be done before then. So, you either love what's been done, you love the site, or you love how things have been done, and that it'll be ready for launch. So you need to decide at that point, before day 4, you either love the site or love what's been done. We'll continue to work together. If not, then we can just part as friends. There's no charge for saying, no, I don't like the site. No, I don't want to work with you. No problem. But if you do love the site or you love what's been done, then you'll have an invoice that will be sent to you for processing before the end of day 3. So the invoice, just so you know, is for web hosting, but it includes a lot of things. So if you actually are interested in the numbers, you look at how much hosting costs. If you look at how much it actually costs to pay somebody through Elance to update your WordPress, update plugins, update things like that, you look at how much it costs to do backups on a daily basis for your site individually, by the way. If you look at how much it costs to have licenses for the plugins that I recommend, that I use for collecting information from customers who visit your site, et cetera, who knows how much it would cost to pay somebody to fix your site if it breaks, if there's something where there's a plugin conflict, which is relatively common every time that WordPress has a major upgrade. Training, the cost of training. If you add all those things up and then you compare that to your choice for either custom or semi-custom web hosting, it's an enormous savings. The savings are passed on to you because I have, dozens and dozens of customers. As a matter of fact, right now I think I have maybe over 100, I think. So anyways, I take the cost of all of that and I divide it up among everybody, and that is how I price my web hosting, and it's kind of also based on how much time that I actually spend on each site. So you should just know that the invoice that you get covers an awful lot, that if you were to pay for it separately, you'd be paying far more. Okay, so the second list, or the third L, this is something that on the end of day 3, after you said, yes, you love the site or you love what's been done, but there's work that needs to be done. This is that list. This is like a to-do list, a list of fixes. Do you have a new logo that you're going to be putting out? Do you have different pictures that you want to use? These are all things that will need to be put in place before launch. Are there any missing pages? Did you not send something that needs to be posted? So these are all things that you need to have in place for launch, and this is a list of fixes. That's the third L, list 2. Okay, and then after day 3, we're getting ready for launch. So that's anywhere from a week to a month, usually no more than a month. Once the site is how it should be for the launch, then I will ask you for the domain name, username and password to point the domain name to the server. It's best, actually, if you can ask the people who you purchase the domain name from to point your domain towards my server. If you don't know how to do it yourself, or if you don't want me to do it, the reason why is because it can take an hour to finish, but usually they'll tell you it can take up to 3 days. So if you have any questions on this process, or if you're ready to get started, you can go to electronicwordofmouth.com and fill out a contact form. Look over my plans and gather more information. Look at some site examples, my portfolio, or you can contact directly through facebook.com/Joseph Dowdy. Thank you so much and have a great day.